Hey everyone, and welcome to Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Today we're going to be continuing part 2 of this video series, doing a crochet kit from Five Below. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. And for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So today, you guys, we are going to continue making Sally from the Nightmare Before Christmas crochet kit. The head took us 2 hours. I just don't know. And I feel like this is almost like Mike Myers. They made his head big. They made Sally's head big too. So today we're going to continue from the last part of finishing off the head, and we're going to do all the detail work for the face. If you'd like to make this character, I highly recommend that you go to your Five Below and look for this kit. You can also try online. This video is only a supplement to the kit, so you'll have to get the kit to make it. I just go and teach you new stitches at least 3 times, step by step. I also go through the instructions and show you how to read them. If there's any, difficulties or weirdness going on, I'll talk about that as well. But then I do come back in and I do the assembly for the doll. Alright, if you need to speed up or slow down the video, go ahead and click on the gear button. There's playback options to go fast or slow. If you need to not hear me talk, you can lower the volume on your device and then click on the CC closed caption button. Okay, so where we left off, we have to attach the eyes. So I'm going to just take out all these different colors of yarn. Oh wow, that's a lot of black. We have our embroidery floss that we're going to use. And then we're going to dump out the eyes, the safety eyes, and the needles, plastic needle. Okay. So hopefully in the assembly section they have a little bit more detail as to where we're placing on this. Oh, well, they don't have one. Okay. Alright, so this is very non-descriptive. Really? Alright, let me check the other instructions. Maybe I'm missing a sheet. Alright, so no. I'm just gonna have to try to count off using the photos on the box. So all right. Okay. So we're just going to kind of guess where we're going to do this. Try to find your back seam. That's where you've climbed up with those stitch markers. And it's probably going to be around this section here. So you can kind of see a little bit of it. So this side, I suspect, will be our front. Okay. So let me just count these rows off here. Okay. So let's mark off where I think it's going to be and my middle. All right, so this is my middle. And then I'm going to see, I think my middle is going to have 2 stitches. Okay. So I'm going to grab my eye here. I counted off the distance. going to stick this in here. All right. I'm going to attach the safety eye by putting in the backing. I'm going to have the cup facing the outside like this. Right, then I'm going to do the other eye. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to use, it looks like we're using orange to make the mouse. I'm going to get my orange yarn here. And I'm going to take my needle. All right. Let's see where we're going to place the lips. All right. So I'm going to count my rows down. Then I'm going to try to find the middle of that. Okay. Let's see how many stitches are in between. I'm going to leave myself a little bit to tie off with. I'm going to see if, I think maybe, it looks like they did only one, so I'm going to stick this inside here and pull this out. Then I'm going to take that end and we're going to tie it together. Double knot, not too tight. Okay. And you know what? I'm actually going to contribute this to my stuffing, so I'm just going to throw everything in there and not cut it off. There's no real reason to cut it off. Alright, now she's got a lot of stitching on her face, so I'm going to start using my markers to mark that off. So if you saw part 1, these stitch markers are very helpful. Okay, so it looks like for the mouth we are okay, so we are starting from here. Let's just mark this row here. All right, and on this side, okay, and then the stitches continue up. So let's see how many rows it goes up. Okay. So we've got a lot of sewing to do. So take your embroidery floss. All right, I'm going to kind of assume maybe half for the body, half for the face. Looks like she's got stitching everywhere, so I'm just going to cut this in half. Okay. So I'm just going to start from here all the way to here, I guess. So stick your needle into here. Oh wait, from the other side, sorry. All right. All right, I want to leave a little bit so that I can tie it off in the end, but we're going to go into the middle of the mouth and we're going to come back out the middle of the mouth on the other side. So we're going to skewer it like this. Oops. All right. Gonna want to leave a little bit of slack because we're going to sew the stitches of this later. Okay. So once you've got that one side, let's go and do the other. So we're going to go in from this eye here and the eye might be in the way, so I'm going to go in all the way down. And again, you want to leave some slack. Because we're going to sew this together. Let me open this up and slide this inside the safety marker or stitch marker. Right, then I'm going to go in on the other side of this eye, right here, or let's see. I guess right here. Okay. Give some slack here. Then we're going to go all the way up to here. And I'm going to go into this part here, go around, let's go around the stitch here like that. And again, make sure you just have enough slack, because now we're going to do the stitching. All right. Okay, so we're just going to do the stitching now. You want to every so often just make a stitch down the line. All right, once you finish that, just make sure that you're not pulling anything because we're gonna stuff and you don't want it to dimple. All right, and then we're just gonna flip this inside out and tie these two pieces together. Don't tie it too tight, just double knot it to make it secure. I'm going to triple knot it because I definitely didn't tie it tight. Okay, so now you can go in, remove all these stitch markers. Again, good things to get. They're a few bucks and they sell them in packs, so you'll have a lot of these. But here is the face. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to stuff it. So grab your stuffing. And for Jack, I still have a lot of, from I think Wicked and the Grinch, I still have stuffing with them, which is great. Always save everything that you get in these kits. You never know if you're going to end up needing it for another project. But now I'm just going to stuff the head. I would go in and do little pieces at a time, because if you put a whole chunk all at once, it's going to be lumpy and bumpy. And you want to be able to manipulate it easily enough to make a round head. So if it's one piece, it's going to be difficult to do that. If you do small pieces, you can control where it goes inside the head. If you see like a flat divot, you can always come in with a small piece and fill that in. But I'm just going to go in now and just stuff this piece by piece. Wow, this is a lot. I hope I have enough for the rest of the body, but like I said, if you get multiple kits, always save everything. If not, I highly recommend that you get your own bag of stuffing on the side. I actually bought a 32 ounce like last year, I feel, and I still have it and I use it, especially if someone wants to remake, wants me to remake like a Lefty video. I need the stuffing for it, obviously, so I never really had to worry about whether or not I had enough stuffing. So I highly recommend that you get stitch markers and stuffing. So like I said, you can see where there's little divots, and then you can go in with little pieces and feed it into the spots that are dipping and fill those out. Okay, and then we have the bottom half of the head here. I just don't understand why they have to make such a big head, because they made Jack Skellington's a pretty decent size. So I don't know why her head needs to be 1,000 times bigger. It's just a lot of yarn to worry about, and obviously a lot of stuffing, because I'm running out of stuffing for the bag. So for those that don't have the extra, you know, it's gonna affect you more because you don't have the extra stuffing. All right. I think that's about it. There we go. Sally has her head now. Let's move on to the next stuff here. All right. Next, we're going to do the leg. How to get my tea. All right, we're going to use black, but then we're going to transition to blue. So I'll teach you how to do that. All right, let's find the end here, if possible. Here we go. Okay, so when you pull that out, that's typically the outside of the spool. What you want to do is find the other end, which is the inside, and we're going to split this open in half. So try to find the loop here, and I found the other end there. Try to find the loop and then split this in half. I have a little heavy cylinder here. I'm just going to slip this in the middle, and that way this will be easier to pull. It's not going to like roll around everywhere. But let's start with the black. Okay, so we're going to be doing the magic ring. Let me show you how to do that. Wow, 20 minutes into this and I haven't taught you how to do a crochet stitch yet. But here we go. So take your finger, you're going to wrap this around your finger 3 times with a little bit of overage to put your middle finger right there. Then you can take this time to straighten out your strands, tighten them up a little bit or loosen them up, if you know, whichever way they are. Then we're going to slip this hook underneath the 3 strands. We're going to pull this back out and we're going to pull this strand underneath these 2. So hook that strand, twist your yarn sideways so that you can slip it underneath the 2 strands. Then we're going to yarn over, which is pretty much putting this feeder yarn over the hook. So yarn over, and then we're going to pull this strand through that loop like that. Let go of your middle finger, slip the rings off your index. Now the way you hold it is the excess yarn goes to the right, the loops go in the middle, and the feeder yarn goes to the left. So let me just grab some feeder yarn and we're going to start doing single crochet stitches. Okay, so the way that we hold our crochet hook is I like to go underhand. This is going to relieve the tension in your hand if you're doing a long project, or even if you're a beginner and you're not used to this motion for a long period of time. You're going to start feeling cramps in your hand, and doing this underhand kind of, like for me at least, prevents me from putting too much pressure onto my hook. So underhand this, and I'm going to show you how to do a single crochet stitch in a magic ring. So stick your hook into the loops like this. We're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over again and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. Wow, my voice is cracking here. So it is a dark color. It will be hard to see, but hopefully with the other different colors of yarn, you'll be able to see it better if I do another magic ring in a different color. But for now, just try to focus on your project here. But if you look at this front side, you have a loop here and a loop here. This is called the front loop. This is called the back loop. And then if you look at it on top, you can see it looks like a little braid. You have a loop this side, loop that side. All right, let's do another one. Stick your hook into the magic ring. We're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop. And then you have 2 loops. We're going to yarn over again and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. So again, looking at it from the front, we have our front loops, back loops. Look at it on top, you can see the braid. You have the loops on one side and loops on another. Let's do this one more time with you guys. So stick your hook into the magic ring. We're going to yarn over. You're going to pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So one more time, looking at the front, you have your loops on the front, loops on the back. You look at it on top, you have your braid and loops on each side. All right, so now I'm just going to continue the rest of the single crochet stitches. You can rewind this part of the video as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing single crochet stitches on your own. All right, so once you've completed your single crochet stitches, you want to overhand your hook. Gently hold the stitches at the bottom here. Don't hold it too tight, because if you do, you won't be able to complete the next step of pulling this. You can take your feeder yarn and hold it back with your middle finger and then push your feeder yarn off to the side, we're going to focus on these parts here. So we have 2 loops and an excess piece. What we want to do is pull this and see which one of these 2 loops goes inside the magic ring first. So let's do that. Pull this excess piece and watch to see which loop goes in. Whichever goes in, you can stop pulling. Okay, so I pulled it and it looks like this one down here is going in first. What you want to do is pull this end out, not this end here, this one in the bottom. So whichever loop that went in first, take that lower end and you want to start pulling it out. And as you pull it out, you're going to see the other loop start to disappear. So what you want to do is keep pulling that side out until that other loop completely disappears into the magic ring and it's gone. So now you deal with this loop. To get rid of this loop, you're going to pull this piece. So let's pull this now and make that one disappear completely into the magic ring. And once you've got that gone, to make sure that there's no hole in the center, you're going to pull in the opposite direction and a little up. You're going to feel it move just a little bit more. And then it'll stop. You don't have to go too crazy. If it stops, it stops. But now you should have no hole in the middle of your ring. That's why it's called the magic ring. It disappears. Okay, so then you're going to take a stitch marker and we want to mark the last stitch we made. So this last single crochet stitch, we're going to stick this stitch marker underneath the front and back loops. And you want to make sure that you're not accidentally piercing the yarn. So when I lift the stitch marker and I'm holding this down pretty good, if you see that there's a nice clean hole next to that stitch marker, that means you slipped it in the right spot. You're not splitting the yarn at all. You can close this up and we can move on to the next round. Okay, so let's do round 2, and it's introducing a new stitch. We're gonna learn how to do an increasing stitch. So an increasing stitch is basically doing 2 in the same stitch. In this case, we're doing single crochet stitches. I'm trying to get comfortable here. Okay, so take your crochet hook. Sometimes it's hard to see, especially with a dark color. What I would recommend to do is now from the stitch marker, count back the number of stitches you're supposed to have for round 1. And then stick your hook into that last stitch. Okay, so like I said, in this stitch alone, we're going to do 2 single crochet stitches to make that increasing stitch. And I'm going to show you how to do it step by step because this is different now. We're doing a single crochet stitch in a regular stitch and not a magic ring. So stick your hook into the next stitch here. We're going to do 2 single crochet stitches. Yarn over, pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through those 2 loops. Then stick your hook back into the same stitch we just used, and let's do another single crochet stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through those 2 loops. So again, it is a dark color, but I really hope you can try to see, at least on your end, we had that 1 stitch, but out comes 2 single crochet stitches. So let's do this again. Stick your hook into the next stitch. We're going to be doing 2 single crochet stitches in here. So yarn over, pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through those 2 loops. Now stick your hook into that same stitch. We're going to do another single crochet stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through those 2 loops. So in that stitch we have 2 single crochet stitches. So one more time with you guys. Into the next stitch, put your hook. We're going to do 2 single crochet stitches in here. So yarn over, pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through those 2 loops. Now into the same stitch, put in your hook. We're going to do 1 more, yarn over, pull up a loop so you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. Alright, so now that I've done this 3 times, step by step, you can rewind this part as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing the stitches on your own. I'm going to go continue the rest of the increasing stitches, and then we'll move on to the next round. Remove your stitch marker, slip it under the last stitch you made. Okay, make sure you clear it by pulling it to see if you have a nice clean passage there. And then we're going to move on to the next round. Alright, so for round 3, we are doing a straightforward single crochet stitch all the way around. However, for round 4, we're going to switch to light blue. So what I'm going to do is do 13 single crochet stitches, and I'm going to save the last single crochet stitch, and we're going to switch to the light blue. Alright, so I have one last one to do. What I'm going to do now is pull this hook all the way out like this, stretching that loop. This is going to prevent from losing the stitch. I'm going to set this aside. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab my light blue yarn here, and we're going to prep it. So we're going to cast on with the slip knot. You're going to take your ring, pinky, and thumb and hold one end. Then you're going to take your middle and index and hold the other. Then take your hook, you're going to lie it perpendicular to the yarn like this. We're going to go down, out, and around to create this loop around your hook. You're able to slide this up and down. Slide it down towards your thumb, take your middle finger here and just hold it where it crosses, because we're going to let go of our left to collect feeder yarn around our finger. Then we're going to re-pinch the end here as low as we can without losing it. And then we're just going to follow the hook by sliding it down towards your thumb. And where it crosses, you're going to pinch it so that you can no longer slide your hook up and down. Then we're going to yarn over. And we're going to pull this strand through the loop. Make sure you clear the yarn and you're not piercing it. Then I'm going to overhand my hook. I'm going to re-pinch the end here with my thumb and middle finger. We're going to push this knot towards my thumb. So keep pushing that down till you cannot push it any longer. And once you get to that point, you can take your thumb and middle finger and just pull that little excess piece out a little bit to make that knot nice and snug. You don't have to pull on it too tightly. Now, the way that I did this is to prevent any waste from your yarn. So this piece here is how much we're wasting. So that's not bad. We're going to take the knot and slide it up towards our hook. We're going to leave some space here because we have to slide this off. We're going to set this aside, and then we're going to pick up our project again. Stick your hook back into that large loop and then tighten it up with the feeder yarn. Okay. Right there. And then we're going to complete the last single crochet stitch. So stick your hook into the last stitch where that stitch marker is. We're going to yarn over. You're going to pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops. But now we're going to take our feeder yarn. You're going to hold it back with the ring finger and then push this feeder yarn to the side. We're going to pick up that light blue that we just casted on. We're going to slip on to the hook, grab some feeder yarn, and we're going to slide this loop through the 2 loops here. Let's do that now. So now we have a nice transition from black to light blue. Now we won't be using, let's see, we are going to go after, hold on, let me see this. Okay, so this is our first leg. I'm going to cut this off about an inch or so because we don't need the black anymore for this part here. So cut it off about an inch or so. And then I'm going to tie this piece around the other, the excess piece from the magic ring. Double knot it. Don't make it too tight. We're just tying it so that it's secure. So you don't want to stretch any of your stitching. All right, so I double knotted it. And now I'm just going to use the light blue to complete the leg. Let's remove our stitch marker and replace it under the last stitch we made. So make sure you clear your yarn. You can pull it to see if it's nice and clear. Close it up. Let's move on to the next part. All right, so for round 4, we're going to be doing single crochet stitches. And then actually for 5 through 7, we're going to do that as well. So this marker represents round 4. Let's get our markers for the other rounds. So if this is 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I happen to take a phone call in the middle of this or I have to do something, I don't need to worry about what round I'm on because these stitch markers should keep track of what I'm doing. But I'm going to be doing the rest in silence, and then we're going to come back in and I'm going to show you how to fasten this off. All right, so I've completed the leg. What I'm going to do is flip this inside out. And I waited to say it now because I was, crocheting in silence. But you're going to see something like this if you did it like I did. And you're wondering, what the heck is this craziness? We have to flip this inside out because this is actually the wrong side. So take your piece here. You can tell because you have all these excess pieces. Take your leg and just invert it. Flip the inside and flip the outside. And you're going to get something like this, and it's going to look so nice and beautiful. It's only a leg. And then you can remove all your stitch markers because we are done with this. And then what I'm going to do is cut about an inch or so off this yarn here. And what we're going to do is yarn over, and we're going to pull through the loop all the way out, like that. Then you're going to take your excess piece, and then we're going to pull this to make that loop tighter, turning into a knot. Okay. Then we can tuck this inside the leg. And we're going to do a second one. I'm going to do the second one off camera, but don't fasten off. Just finish up to round 7, and then we're going to continue with the rest of the instructions. All right, I just popped in while I'm doing the second leg. I want to mention that when we transition to the blue, and I had you cut the black, just leave it on because we're going to be crocheting into the body, and we're going to be switching back to black. That way you won't have to, kind of waste yarn to make the knots, and then you don't have to waste the little bit of yarn to cast on with the slip knot. So just leave this connected, and then again, I'll come back in once we finish the second leg. All right, so I completed the second leg. It's right here. I put the stitch markers at the end, at the last stitch that we made for each. For the next part of this instruction, it has you doing chains. So I'm going to show you how to do the chains. It's pretty much the basic stitch of crocheting. So what we're going to do is yarn over, and we're going to pull this through the loop, and that's it. That's a chain stitch. So let's just talk about it. A chain stitch is made up of 3 loops. We have our loop here and a loop on the other side. If we flip it upside down or to its side like this, you can see the back loop here. I call it the back hump. So let's do another one. Yarn over and pull this through the loop. And now we have 2 chains, a loop on each side. You flip it to its side or upside down, and you can see the back hump here. Let's do one more time with you guys. Yarn over and pull through a loop. So again, we have loops on each side. You turn it upside down or to its side, and you can see the back hump. All right, so just finish the remaining chains that they're asking you to make here. And then it says that we're going to join the first leg. So wait a minute. Okay. I was like, where's the next round? All right. So here's where we might have a little tiny issue, but we're going to work it out. Okay, looks like we're transitioning to black, and I should have actually used the black to do this last stitch. So work with me here, you guys. Take your hook out from this loop very carefully. Then, as I show you a close-up of this, we're going to take the feeder yarn, and we're just going to pull out this loop here, just one loop, like that. Then you're going to stick your hook back into this next loop here, and we're actually going to do the last chain stitch in black. So just drop your light blue, and we're going to pick up the black, and we are going to trail black yarn out of this leg, and you're going to wonder like, what the heck? I'm going to figure out a way to hide it, so it's not going to be that big a deal. So what we're going to do is gather up some feeder yarn with the black, and we're going to trail up the black to this loop here. Wait, hold on a sec. Okay, to this loop here. We're going to yarn over with it, and you're going to pull through that loop to create your 4th chain. Okay, so it's going to look a little weird, but no worries. We're going to clean it up once we attach everything and do round 8. So with the black, we're going to attach to the leg here, and we're just going to pretend that we're moving along like we normally would into the next stitch. So put your hook into the next stitch here, and let's focus on these sections. Let's focus on everything before a comma, so that way we don't get overwhelmed with all the instructions that they have here. So let's do our single crochet stitches. Okay, so let's do that. And then it says that we have a set of parentheses, which we're how that reads is we're going to focus on the instructions inside that parenthesis, and then the X and a number is the number of times you have to repeat it. So we're actually going to be doing increasing stitches with single crochet stitches. So let's do that now. An increase, oh, we did the increasing stitch. Okay. All right, so let's do an increasing stitch. Okay. And then we're going to do our single crochet stitches. All right, and then we're going to repeat this the number of times that the instruction tells us to do. So the next piece, we're going to be using the chains to complete. So let me show you how I would do that. Are we gonna go back to, yeah, okay. So I showed you how a chain is made up of. We have 3 loops for them. We have a loop on each side, and when we turn it to the back, we have the back hump. We're going to stick our hook into the back hump. So go into the back hump of the next chain stitch, which would be right here. Okay. At the same time, I'm going to scoop up this black yarn that we trailed across. So stick your hook underneath that black yarn, and also stick your hook through that back hump. So if you look at it this side, which is going to be hard to do, but if you look at it this side, you have your 2 loops on this side, and then when you look on the back side, it's the back hump right here. And what we're working in is we have an increasing stitch. So we're doing that into that first chain we have here. Okay. And then we have some single crochet stitches. So let's do that. Again, go underneath that black and then go through the back hump of the next chain and do your single crochet stitches. All right, and then we do have, you know what, and that's where I found a problem. All right, we're gonna fix that. So if you hadn't noticed, from the leg, this is where they messed up. When it says after you make the first leg, cut the thread and then make the second, and it says do not cut the thread, they should have had you change to blacks, and because now it looks like, you know, this is supposed to be the dress and this is supposed to be the legs, but this color is the skin. So if you have a little bit of skin, we're gonna hide this. So don't worry. I'll figure it out, and hopefully it's completely hidden by the time we come back around. All right, so for the last chain, we are doing an increasing stitch. So let's do that now. Go underneath the black and then go into the back hump of the chain. And we're going to be doing our increasing stitch. All right. And then now we're moving on to the next leg. So for the next leg, we have a set of parentheses. Let's focus on that. It's single crochet stitches and increasing stitches, repeated the number of times that the instruction tells you to do. So let's do that now. Let's see how much is supposed to be. Okay. All right, and then after that we have single crochet stitches, and that's going to complete the second leg, and then we're going to work back on the chains, and hopefully I'll be able to hide that color altogether because it shouldn't be there. So I could go back, but you guys are probably already done the same thing that I did, so it's unfortunate, but we're going to try hiding it. So working in the 4 chains, we're just doing single crochet stitches. So into the next stitch here, let's see what happens if we go around the front and back loops. So because we went to the back hump, look how nice our chains are. They're right here exposed. We don't need to worry about, you know, getting this all jumbled up here. So let's do this. Hold on, let me count this for a sec. Hold on, be right back. Alright, so we're just doing single crochet stitches. Let me like to hope that when I put my hook into the front and back loops of these chains, it hides this color completely. So cross fingers. Okay, so it didn't entirely, which is very disappointing. I mean, it makes me want to really undo the whole row and not finish off. But yeah, in this booklet, if you happen to be watching this before you're making it, after making that second leg and it tells you to do the chains, it doesn't tell you to change color. Change your color to black. All right. But I completed that round. I'm going to remove these. Let me not remove it yet. I want to see. I just want to keep track of those. Or I'm just going to put another marker underneath the last stitch I made. And we're going to move on to round 9. So this I'm keeping on here because we are going to be transitioning 2 more other colors and this color. So rather than having to cut and you know, cast on with a slip knot again, I'm just going to trail it up and crochet it in place. Okay, so for round 9 we have a set of parentheses. We're doing single crochet stitches and increasing stitches. Now if you didn't notice, for the legs too, at the end of the instructions there's a parenthesis with a number. Those are just the stitch count. So if you're a beginner, and especially when we get through these like really intricate instructions, I would go ahead and count each row, the stitches on each row, to make sure you have the correct counts. It's good to count now before finding out later. All right, so let's work with this. We're going to do single crochet stitches and increasing stitches. Had to pause there for a sec. So let's take a look at rounds 10 through 13. All right, this one should be straightforward. All we have to do is do single crochet stitches. So again, you guys, use your stitch markers. I'm going to actually replace this under the last stitch we made. Okay, and then I'm actually going to remove these ones. I don't need them anymore. We didn't hide every bit of that color. Again, very disappointing. But it's on the underside, so hopefully you'll never have to see it. But I'm going to keep this color inside. Try not to crochet into it. But if this one is 10, 11, 12, 13. Actually, let's replace this one. I like to take the ones that are really open because it's easy to slide in. If you try using something like this, you have to take the time to split it open, and sometimes it's hard to do when you're holding everything. It's just easier to have these. So 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going to be doing this in silence. All right, completed rounds 10 through 13, and we're going to do 14. So what we have going on here is we're going to focus on the comma sections. So the first part we have single crochet stitches. So let's go ahead and do those. Okay, I'm just going to double check that I have the right amount because I've been counting. However, I think I might have lost count. Okay, no, I'm actually good. All right. So now the next section of the commas is that we are going to introduce the decreasing stitch. So this is a new stitch, so I'm going to show you how to do it step by step. The decreasing stitch, unlike the increasing stitch, is pretty much going from 2 stitches to 1. So whereas increasing stitch went from 1 stitch to 2, we're doing the opposite thing. So go into the next stitch and put in your hook. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Then you're going to go into the next stitch over, put in your hook. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. So now we have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So I'm not sure if you can see it with the dark color, but we have 1, 2 stitches and we made 1 stitch out of it. Okay, so now you know that the body is now going to taper inward the more rows we get. So after this comma, the next section comma is single crochet stitches. I'm not going to do the last one because we have to start transitioning to the pink color. So let's do our single crochet stitch here. And before we do the last one, I'm going to, drop this feeder yarn thing here. And I'm going to pull out a huge loop like we did before. Let it go. Put the project down. I'm going to go grab my pink. All right. And so now we're going to juggle a bunch of colors, you guys. It's going to get a little crazy, but hopefully we'll be able to get this done. I pulled it. I guess I didn't pull the right end because it's not unraveling. Oh, here we are. All right. I'm going to split this like I did with the black. Okay. This is no fun. Hold on. Yeah, this is why I hate how they do this. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's cast on with a slip knot. I don't know how many times I've done this already, but let's do this again. All right, take your pinky, ring, and thumb, and then your index and middle. We're going to lie our hook perpendicular to the yarn, go down, out, and around. You can slide your hook up and down, slide it down towards your thumb, take your middle finger and hold it where it crosses. Then I'm going to let go of my left so I can grab some feeder yarn. Then I'm going to re-pinch my end here, slide my hook further down towards my thumb, and where it crosses, I'm going to pinch it so that I can no longer move my hook up and down. Then I'm going to yarn over, pull through the loop, overhand my hook, re-pinch the end, and push this knot towards my left thumb. Keep pushing until the knot can no longer be pushed. Once you get to that point, you can take your middle finger and thumb and pull out that little piece, tighten up that knot just a little bit more, and then we're going to grab the knot and pull it close to the hook. Give it some space so you can remove the loop off your hook. And then I'm going to put it back into this large loop, close it up by pulling on the feeder yarn, and then we're going to continue our last single crochet stitch. So stick your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop so you have 2 loops, take your ring finger and pinky and hold your yarn off to the side, and then we're going to slip on the pink, gather up some feeder yarn. We're going to pull this through the 2 loops. We're not going to cut it because we're going to go back to black. But I'm going to continue the next comma section, and we have a bunch of single crochet stitches, so let's do that now. So now we're going to juggle 2 other colors with this, so it's going to be much, but it's easier than having to keep doing the cast on with a slip knot. But by the end of this, you're going to be a pro at flooding your colors in here. All right, so now the next section, we're going to do a decreasing stitch. So let me show you how to do that. Stick your hook into the next stitch. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop. Then into the next stitch, put in your hook. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop. So now you have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. All right, now we're back to doing single crochet stitches, so let's go ahead and do that. so silly. Okay. And then the next section here. All right, this might get a little complicated. Hopefully I'll be able to pull this off. But we're going to be switching back to black, but we have to do a decreasing stitch for our last stitch. So insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, then insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. We're going to hold back the pink yarn. We're going to pick up the black. Now, wherever you're pulling it from, in this case, it's all the way across the universe right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the perimeter of this side here, and you want to make sure you run enough length so that when we put the stuffing, it's not going to dimple or stretch or pull the project. So just make sure you have enough slack, in other words. And we're going to do a yarn over with the black, and we're going to pull through all the loops, and then we'll drop the pink and move on to the next round. I'm going to remove this stitch marker, place it under the last stitch we made. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the next round. So the next round, we're introducing a new situation here. We are doing back loop only. So what that means is, when I told you the parts of these stitches, when you look at it at the front, we have our front loop here, and then right here we have our back loop. What we're going to be using only is the back loop. So for instance, we're doing a single crochet stitch first. So I'm going to stick my hook into the next stitch, but instead of putting it here under both front and back loop, I'm only going to split this braid here and stick the hook under the back loop only. You see that? So the front loop is right here, the back loop is here, and my hook is just under the back loop. But also, because I want to make sure I tuck this trailing black yarn here, you can put it over your hook as well. We're going to crochet the stitch around these two things, the back loop and the trail of yarn that we have, so that we can tuck that away and make it nice and neat. So go about your way of doing your single crochet stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So we have our front loop just chilling here. The back loop is getting pulled, and that's okay. It'll flatten back out once we do more. But we're going to do the next stitch. So stick your hook into the next stitch, back loop only. You're going to stick your hook between the braid and just put it under the back loop only. Since we did that first stitch with the trail yarn, your trail yarn should actually be already over your hook. So we're going to just do that. If it's not, put it over your hook. We're going to stitch around this so we can tuck that in and hide it. So yarn over, pull up a loop, you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. All right, so one more time with you guys. Stick your hook into the next stitch, split the braid, and put your hook under the back loop only. And because we did that trail yarn, it should already be over your hook like this. If not, put it over your hook. Then we're going to yarn over. You're going to pull up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. All right, so you guys, we're going to do the rest of the single crochet stitches required, but I'm not going to do the last stitch of that section because we are transitioning back to pink. So rewind this video as many times as you need until you're good with doing your single crochet stitches back loop only and hiding that trail piece. So let me just actually show you a real quick look on what the front loop is doing now. So you have this line that's all front loop. So if you see this, you're good. And then if you flip it backwards, that trail yarn that we did, it's should be started to hide behind these stitches. Okay, and I'll show you what that looks like again once we get around to this point. if you can. This green is kind of doing something here. What I'm gonna do, if it gets tangled like this, we want to free this green and not get it stuck. Try to squish the skein of yarn and try to get it into this little loop so that we can free that. I said green. It's supposed to be light blue. It looks green to me. But yeah, see, I just slipped that underneath so that I can get it out of the way. So because we're trailing all these colors, you have to get creative in untangling the colors. Okay. All right, I'm going to continue with this. All right, so I stopped doing the last one. If we look at the front, you can see that line of the front loops. If we turn it on its back, that trail of yarn is now hidden. So that's good. We're going to do this last single crochet stitch. Right? And then we're going to drop the black. Pick up the pink. And then we're going to do the same thing. Trail your yarn. You could pick the shorter distance, but I'm going to hide this behind the pink like we did. So again, go around the perimeter, make sure you stretch it out so that you have room and slack for when you stuff it. It's not going to start pulling on your project. But I'm going to go ahead now and we're going to complete the single crochet stitch with the pink, making a clean transition. And then I'm going to go and do the single crochet stitches it's asking me to do. And again, we're going to stop at the last single crochet stitch so that we can transition back to black. This time, since We're still going to be using the back loops only because we're still working with the same round, and we are picking up the trail pink yarn so that we can hide it in our stitches, and you'll be able to see what I'm doing easier with this color because it's a lighter color, and you'll be able to see that front loop only line as I work these stitches right there. And then you'll be able to see me hiding that trail yarn back here, so it's slowly going to disappear. Let me count this, I lost count. Interesting. Something can't be right. Alright, let me recount this whole row. Oh, are you kidding me? I think I'm short one. Oh, I am. Alright, so this is why you need to make sure your count's right. Let me go back here and fix this. I know, right? Okay. I'm short one, so I'm going to go in real quick and do this extra one that I missed. Wait a minute. Then I'm going to go real quick and do this. All right, for the last one, I'm going to start it, but I'm going to hold this back because I have to trail my black. And then finish my last single crochet stitches. Still using the back loop only, still trailing that pink yarn. All right, ooh, crisis averted. So now I'm going to remove this and stick it under the last stitch we made. We're going to do round 16 next. So for round 16, we have the number of single crochet stitches in black. We're going to transition to the pink and then back to black. Oh, and this time we're going to use both front and back loops and trail the yarn. All right, I'm going to go and get my pink. I gotta detangle this light blue here. This light blue not being used. It's going to be used soon, but it's in my way. And I have to gather up some pink. Not sure what time we are at right now, but I'm hoping to finish the body and the video won't be too long. I have a feeling we're already over 2 hours. Hopefully, I don't have any editing or posting issues. All right, trail the yarn like we did before. And then I'm going to finish this one off with the pink. And then for the next steps, we have single crochet stitches. Okay. Let me just double check the count. It looks like it's right, but you always want to make sure. Okay. Then we're going to transition back to black. And we're already low on black, so I really hope that we make it. I was low since before we started doing the colors. Okay. Alright, and then I'm going to finish the last single crochet stitches, and then we're going to do round 17. Place your stitch marker. Alright. So now for round 17, we have a bunch of stuff happening. So let's focus on the the parentheses. We have single crochet stitches and decreasing stitches, and we're going to repeat it the number of times that the instruction tells us to do. So first, let's do our single crochet stitches. then we're going to do our decreasing stitch. Then we're going to repeat our parenthesis. And I'm just going to remove the black. There's not much left of it, so slip that off here. And I lost count doing that, so all right, and then we're going to be doing single crochet stitches. I'm going to not do the last one because we are going to switch to light blue now. Right, let's pick up the light blue. Now this, oops, we're going to be trailing from all the way down here. So we just have to go up, which isn't terrible, but make sure you do leave some slack because it's coming from really down there. Okay. And then we're going to do, oh, that's short-lived. We're going to do a decreasing stitch and switch to the pink. So into the next stitch, to the next stitch. Now we're going to drop this and pick up the pink. We're going to run this around again, the perimeter. And then finish off that decreasing stitch. And then drop that green. So for the next sections, we have a parenthesis for some single crochet stitches and decreasing stitches, and we're going to repeat it the number of times that it tells us to. So let's do that now. Then we're going to repeat that. Okay, then we have a last set of single crochet stitches, so I'm going to do that now. And I'm not going to do the last one because we have to transition back to black. So get your black. We're going to finish our last single crochet stitch that we started, right? And then we're going to continue with our single crochet stitches. Ooh, and that doesn't look right. Oh dear. All right, let me check it out. All right, so we have a problem. My counts are right, but in order for me to do my 2 single, comment below, let me know if you're in the same boat. I have still yet to do 2 single crochet stitches and a decreasing stitch. There's no way I can do that. I only have room for 1 single crochet stitch and then a decreasing stitch. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to count the number of stitches that I already have, and I'm going to make sure that I end up with the same stitches at the end of round 17. So I recommend you do the same thing. So let me recount this. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but I have the number of stitches that I'm supposed to. Could it be a typo? Maybe. I'm not going to sit here and do the math. Could it have been me? Maybe. Can't find it though. So, oh dear. This is what you don't want. I forgot to trail it. Let me just... why? Fix this. Anything could be fixed. So, never fear. Again, you want it to run the perimeter of the body. Okay, like it never happened. All right, let's do round 18. So we have single crochet stitches in black, and then we're going to change to light blue. me check my counts. What? Lord. Alright, so this one is actually the last one. I'm going to transition to the light blue. Alright, so just looking ahead, I don't think we're going to be switching to black anymore. So I am going to cut the black. It's one less piece to worry about. So let's go ahead and cut about an inch or so off this black. Alright, and then I'm going to tie this loosely around the light blue just to secure it. Can keep the black tucked inside, pick up my light blue. I gotta get my paperweight again. There must be a knot because I can't pull it anymore. Okay. So I'm going to do the rest of my stitches in my light blue. Okay, looking ahead, just seeing, okay, we're going to change to pink. So what I'm going to do is start the last single crochet stitch. We're going to drop the light blue. We're going to pick up the pink. And we're going to complete that single crochet stitch. And I'm going to replace the stitch marker under the last stitch we made. and then we're going to move on to round 19. So for 19, we're doing all single crochet stitches, but we're going to be transitioning to the light blue. In fact, we are going to be doing that for round 19 and 20. 21, we are introducing a new color, so I will pop back in on round 21. All right, so we're doing round 21 and it's got a few stuff in here. We're going to work on a parentheses in pink, doing single crochet stitches and decreasing stitches. We're going to repeat it the number of times the instruction tells us to do. And then of course for the last decreasing stitch, we're going to hold off because we have to cast on yellow with the slip knot and then do that. You guys, we have rounds 21 through 24 left to do. This video is way over and I'm hoping to fit it all. So let's get straight into this. After I transition this round to 21, I'm going to move on with the next ones in silence just to save time on video. All right, did the 4. Pull this out. We're going to get the yellow out. All right. Couldn't find the inside, just going to use the outside, so that might be a nightmare. Let's cast this on. Pinky, ring, thumb, index, middle finger. Lie perpendicular to the yarn. Go down, out and around. You can slide this up and down. Slide down towards your thumb and hold it where it crosses so that we can gather up some feeder yarn. Repinch the end, slide it further down towards your thumb and pinch it where it crosses so that we can yarn over, pull through the loop, overhand the hook, repinch the end, push the knot towards the thumb, and then once you get down to a knot, we're going to pull with our thumb and middle finger the little excess piece to tighten it up. And then we're going to slide it up towards the hook. Remove this off the hook. Pick your project back up. Put your hook back in there and tighten it up. And we're going to complete the last decreasing stitch. So into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. We're going to slip on the yellow. And we're going to pull through all the loops off your hook. And I'm realizing what I didn't do is tie off the light blue because I don't need it anymore. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some yellow first. We have 4 single crochet stitches and a decreasing stitch. And then while I'm here, I'm going to tie that off. All right. Okay. Before I complete the last decreasing stitch, let me just pull this out a little bit. I'm going to take care of this light blue. We're not using it again, so I'm going to cut this off. Let's make sure we're not using this again. Yeah, we're not using it again. Cut this off about an inch or so. And I'm going to tie this around the pink 2 times. You can use your hook to help you out here. You can actually just do this yarn over thing and do the fasten off. Yeah, I think that works. You can do it twice if you want, just to secure it. Okay. Now let's get this back. We have to transition back to pink. So again, trail that. Maybe it would be nice if I started the decreasing stitch. It's getting a little crazy. All right, we can do this. Just do start your decreasing stitch, and then I'm going to finish it off with the pink. All right. Then replace your stitch marker. All right, so I'm going to do the rest in silence. We're going to pop back in for our closing, and we'll just have to do the rest in a part 3 video. All right, so clearly we have an issue here. They messed up. Okay, there's no way we're doing single crochet stitches and decreasing stitches the number of times they tell us to do to get all the way around. So that's where we're, according to the instructions, we're done. And look, we still have all this way to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try doing this. I'm going to go off camera and see what this instruction needs to be. It's wrong. They're wrong. They're wrong. They're wrong. All right. So let me pause this and come right back. All right. So I undid everything with the, all right, I undid everything. I'm guessing that in the parenthesis, it has only one single crochet stitch. Let's do 3. So 3 single crochet stitches starting off round 24. And I'm only saying this out loud because they clearly messed up. So let's do 3 single crochet stitches, a decreasing stitch, 3 single crochet stitches, a decreasing stitch, 3 single crochet stitches, and a decreasing stitch. I'm not going to finish it with the pink. I'm going to finish it with the yellow. Okay, run this around the perimeter. Right, then same thing, let's do 3 single crochet stitches. Well, actually we won't need the pink anymore, so before we start that, let's tie this off to make our lives a little bit less complicated here. Cut about 1 inch or so. And we're going to double knot around the yellow. Tuck away that pink, and let's move on with the yellow. So now we're back to 1 color on here, which is great. Let's do 3 single crochet stitches, decreasing stitch, three single crochet stitches, decreasing stitch, three single crochet stitches, and the last decreasing stitch. All right, so let's see what it's saying for us to do. Didn't say anything, but looks like we're gonna have to fasten off, so remove this. So in the end of that round, you guys, make sure you have 21 stitches. Okay, so we're just gonna sew with the yellow. So what I like to do is go around the perimeter very loosely 2 times, and that's going to be about as much as you need to sew onto the head. Cut it. Then we're going to yarn over, pull through the loop all the way out, tighten this up by pulling on it, Alright, you guys, so normally we would stuff this, but when we come back into the part 3 video, I need to sew the scars or the stitches on her legs. So we're going to hold off on that. And then we're going to end up doing sewing onto the head. And then, or stuffing and then sewing onto the head. We're going to do the skirt, the arms, the hair. So, again, hopefully this fits everything. This is way over 2 hours. But comment below, let me know how it went. That last row, they totally jacked up, but hopefully you were able to follow along with what I did to complete it. Okay, so thank you so much, you guys, for watching. This is Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.